Hello everyone, this is Nostalgia925 coming at you with the very first explaining Pokemon evolution episode. I think I'd have to warn all of you already that you can expect a long intro, and I'm sorry for that, but it's the first episode after all, so I'd rather do it now so that I can avoid it in future episodes. I could then just go straight to the point. For those who have less patience, this video does have timestamps, so you can just skip ahead if that's what you'd like to do. Now, to briefly sum it up for the newcomers, the Explaining Pokemon Evolution series will be all about the explanation of what the Pokemon in question is all about. I'm not talking in terms of, powers like we see in countless other YouTube channels. No, what I want to do here is take my time to explore these little adorable creatures that exist in now over 5 generations already. There are plenty of them, and I would say that they do deserve a type of attention that is not just a summation of what they can do in the battlefield. I hope I can show you that there is more to those creatures. I hope I can show you that the Pokemon developers have put way more work than you would have initially imagined. Those who have been following me for a while now know that this channel is normally dedicated to explaining the Digimon universe in its complexity by considering theories, mythology, and whatnot. And after making a poll suggesting the addition of Pokemon to the curriculum, most voters were excited, but still a significant percentage of voters were not. In fact, some were very reluctant to the idea, which I totally understand. The thing is, as I already made various Pokemon to Digimon comparison episodes, I do want to feel more confident in my shoes comparing both of them. That way I would be more precise when it comes to all these theories uniting both franchises as one world instead of 2 different ones. So, in a sense, by adding Pokemon to the mix, I'm trying to unite the fans of both worlds and maybe even introduce Pokemon fans to Digimon and vice versa, to see what we can learn from each other and be united by our differences. Sure, there will be clashes, that I can promise you, they are bound to come, but do those clashes always mean that we should stop caring and at least considering the opinions of others? No, it doesn't need to get this far. I'm trying to bring you guys together to sort of escape the rush inside planet Earth and let you reflect on something that you might find a bit interesting than just those daily routines. Anyway, this is the end of the introduction. I'm sincerely hoping that you guys will walk along with me on this journey, and if I'm making mistakes or forget something in my research, please make sure to correct me in the comment section, and know that I'm always certainly open for constructive criticism. Also, because I'm a bit obsessed with order, we'll start exploring the Pokemon of Gen 1 first before going to Gen 2. I'm aware that some Pokemon can have an evolution that was introduced in a different generation, so I know that there is probably going to be some going back and forth when it comes to the Pokemon generations. Anyway, may you all enjoy this video. In this video we are going to be talking about probably the most popular Pokemon in the franchise, Pikachu. But before talking about it, we'll first have to get back to its first form, which actually was introduced in the 2nd generation. I'm talking about Pichu, a baby Pokemon. And I say baby because these are Pokemon that are small and obviously cannot breed. The etymology behind Pichu's name is that it is a shortened version of its evolved form Pikachu, and both their names are from 2 different onomatopoeia found in Japanese. Just in case, for those who do not know what onomatopoeia means, it is the formation of a word from a sound associated with its name. In Pikachu's case, the Pika comes from Pika Pika, that is the sound of electricity sparking. So, every time you were to hear the spark of electricity, may that sound remind you of this very video explaining Pikachu's evolution line. The Choo Choo is the sound of a mouse that is squeaking, hence we have the name Pikachu and also the shortened version Pichu. When it comes to the origins and physiology, I admit I've always seen Pichu as a rabbit because of the long ears, but it is based on rodents such as mice. So that appears to be that. Rodent animals can normally be found in great numbers in various areas in our big planet here. So I'm going to assume that a Pichu should also be found in various places. I'm not considering the games here because I know that it is quite uncommon to come across a Pichu. In some, you can only have one via breeding. Now, what is a bit surprising to me, even though in video games it is quite rare to see our little mouse, it appears that the Pichu population is perfectly divided in 50% males and 50% females, and it will be the same division across its evolved form. That is actually quite impressive considering some countries today are camping with significant disproportionate divisions in gender. Last thing I want to add before going to Pichu's behavior, the Pokemon is about 0.3 meter or 1 foot. It's about your average house mouse. I've always loved watching the heights of Pokemon because some are extremely big. I remember when I first saw how big a Gyarados was, I thought to myself, wow, that one is huge. Can't wait to discuss it. If there is one thing I truly love about Pokemon, then it has to be the Pokédex, that little electronic device designed to catalog and provide information regarding the various species of Pokemon in the universe. And that device is always updated, giving us more insights about the Pokemon we are looking for. Now, not that I'm trying to compare here, but from a Digimon point of view, I truly believe that the Digimon universe is lacking its own Digidex, let me call it like that. There probably are as many Digimon as there are Pokemon, and to have a constantly updated archive about the profiles of those creatures could always come in handy to better understand what they are all about. So I took the liberty to read all Pokédex profiles of Pichu and its evolutions to better tell you its behavior, and let me tell you that it was really interesting. You see, Pichu has these round pink sacs on their cheeks, right? These are used to store electricity. Now the thing is, Pichu is still a baby Pokemon, meaning that it cannot store as much electricity as its evolved forms. It doesn't have that skill yet. Now for those who would like to live with one, you should be prepared to be on the receiving end of its electric jolts, because it is not skilled at storing electricity. It can shock itself if any electricity leaks out of its cheeks. It may send out a jolt if amused or startled, so be careful. Any kind of shock can cause it to discharge energy. So clearly, it isn't very good at storing electricity, but then again, it is a baby. It will end up learning it when it grows older. What I liked reading is that Pichu does show very impressive interaction skills with others. For example, when it plays with others, it may short out electricity with other Pichu, creating a shower of sparks. Well, I say interaction skills, but the creation of sparks usually makes them start crying. I would say that there are less chances a Pichu will start crying when they are playing under the sun. That is because it charges itself with electricity more easily on days with thunderclouds or when the air is very dry. That is usually when you are more likely to turn on your home's heating system. When there are thunderclouds or when the air is very dry, that is when Pichu is more likely to have electrical discharges. That about sums it up for Pichu. Pichu's evolution is the well-known Pikachu, literally the mascot of Pokémon. I'd really be surprised if someone today doesn't know Pikachu. You could recognize it from miles away. It is even said that Pikachu has a legitimate shot at the title of most iconic animated character ever. To be honest, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure Pikachu is more popular than Goku from the Dragon Ball franchise. So knowing that, you can imagine how excited I am to explore Pikachu just to know more about it, so let us do that. We've already discussed where the name Pikachu came from. Remember? Pika Pika, in reference to the sound of electrical sparking? Don't forget to think of this video whenever you hear those sounds. I have the pleasure to announce that all those who ever believed that Pikachu was based on the mouse, and I am including myself, was wrong. Natsuko Nishida, one of the Game Freak employees that helped design the original Pokemon, revealed that Pikachu's initial character design was based on a squirrel and not a mouse as the game suggests. The designer said the following: "At that time I was really into squirrels," said Nishida to Yomiuri in a slightly bizarre interview. "I wanted the character to have puffy cheeks. Squirrel tails are cute, so I wanted it to have a tail. However, I wanted the character to have a lightning element, so I made it shaped like lightning." This might mean that we should, maybe, take the Pokédex entry with a pinch of salt. It's a bit ironic to note that what we thought to be a mouse would actually be a squirrel. Really kind of shook up my theoretical paradigm. But hey, always good to learn, right? Now speaking of learning, did you know that a female Pikachu looks almost exactly as a male with the exception of her tail? That tail, when Pikachu is a female, will be rounded at the end and will have an inward dent, giving it the appearance of a heart. Very interesting to see those gender differences. And to add on to the tail, what you have to know is that Pikachu is using its tail to monitor its surrounding, although it is sometimes struck by lightning in that pose. Now to finish, Pikachu did grow a little taller than Pichu. It went from 0.3 meters or 1 foot to 0.4 meters or 1 foot 4. Lots of Pichu's characteristics were transferred to Pikachu. That is something I found very interesting when reading the Pokédex. As I have said when discussing Pichu, they tend to gather in groups. They are Pokemon that live in a collective rather than being lone wolves, which is normal considering their size. They could easily be the prey of other bigger and stronger Pokemon. Being united might be the best means of defense and even offense. Pikachu is still living in groups, except that they don't cry anymore like Pichu. No, they literally became almost like a small army. Let me explain. In the anime it has been stated that Pikachu, at least in the Kanto region, live in big groups deep in forests and are even aware of humans. That is a big change because it is also said that normally Pikachu are friendly creatures that love to be cuddled unless they are threatened or angered, or if someone pulled or stepped on its tail. That is when it can get quite aggressive. It might bite or even shock the culprit. Pikachu became very social and works in team with other Pikachu. Heck, they even have ways of greeting each other. For example, in the Kanto region, Pikachu greet one another by shocking them, and those who live in the Pikachu Valley in Alola greet each other by sniffing one another and rubbing their tails together. They also start duels with one another by sending electric signals, and the winner would be decided when the opponent's tail is bitten. Pikachu can also differentiate the electrical shocks of a weakened companion as well as a healthy one, so to be honest, that is actually really impressive. I am happy to know that there is way more to Pikachu than initially thought. I would say that many humans in the Pokemon world, and to be honest also in the real world, I know plenty who would love a Pikachu in the household. Anyway, many humans in the Pokemon world are interested in Pikachu because when several are gathered, their electricity could build and even cause lightning storms. That is probably why the Pokédex entry of Pokemon Sun tells that a plan was recently announced to gather many Pikachu and make an electric power plant. I would say that you'll be in for a whole lot of problems trying to gather Pikachu because its nature is to store up electricity, so you might get struck not just by one but many Pikachu. Also, you see the forests where Pikachu live. Those forests where you can find Pikachu's nests, they are dangerous since the trees are so often struck by lightning. You will have to wear electrical safety clothing and hopefully that'll be enough. And if you try to sneak in on Pikachu when it is sleeping, well, you see the electricity storing pouches on its cheeks. These appear to be electrically charged during the night while Pikachu sleeps, and it occasionally discharges electricity when it is dozy after waking up. So any attempts of trying to catch a Pikachu will have to be planned thoroughly. Here is something important you have to know about Pikachu. For it to evolve, it doesn't suffice to make Pikachu grow stronger. It will need a mysterious evolutionary stone known as the Thunderstone. In order to get one, Pikachu will sometimes gather up in big groups to search for Thunderstones so they can evolve. Very impressive, if I may say so myself. Pikachu is not acting as a group, but is acting as a team. They know how to play together, they know how to fight together, and they know how to work together in order to reach the next stage. This deserves an applause, really. Once Pikachu is using the Thunderstone, it has two different forms or rather variants it can evolve to. There is Raichu and there is Alolan Raichu, in reference to Alola, a region consisting of 4 main islands, all with a warmer climate than other regions. I would say Alola is the type of place I would love to go to if I am in a dire need for sun and nice beaches, and to be honest, I could use some sun right now. Raichu is the last Pokemon we're going to be discussing here. It's quite a long video, isn't it? You have almost made it to the end, we're almost there. When it comes to the etymology, Raichu's name, well, Raichu originates from the Japanese word Rai, meaning thunder, and the Chu is referring to the squeak made by a mouse. Maybe some mythology for you, Raichu is a name that is similar to Raiju, a legendary lightning creature from Japanese mythology. Raiju is the companion of Raijin, the Shinto god of lightning. This does bring Pokemon close to mythology, doesn't it? When it comes to the physiology, both Raichu and Alolan Raichu were influenced based on their habitat. The Raichu living in the Kanto region has the appearance of a kangaroo rat, while Alolan Raichu might be based on the surfing Pikachu or might simply be based solely on surfing. Alola looks like Hawaii and surfing was invented in Hawaii, so why not combine a Raichu with surfing? There are gender differences for the Kantonian Raichu. Males have tips on their lightning bolt tails, while females have flat ends on them. That is different from the Alolan counterpart, as Alolan Raichu does not sport any visual differences between males and females. As for the height, Raichu did grow much bigger than its previous forms, coming at 2 foot 7 inches or 0.8 meter. That is almost 3 times the height of Pikachu. We're going to focus on Raichu's behavior first and close it with the Alolan version to avoid confusion. I do not know how much of an impact the Thunderstone had on an evolving Pikachu, but I would say that Raichu and Pikachu grew to become a little bit different. Sure, both Pokemon still have some aspects in common, like the fact that they can be friendly and cute. Raichu on the other hand became more confident, faithful and powerful than Pikachu, to a point of making them rivals. Depending on how much electricity it has stored in its body, it can also become extremely short-tempered and aggressive. Well, that depends on which Raichu we're talking about, as some of them are timid and would run away from people. With the electricity buildup, its muscles are stimulated, making it become even more aggressive than usual. And pay attention, its electric charges can reach even 100,000 volts, capable of causing even an Indian elephant to faint. That would be quite a shock. When it comes to Alolan Raichu, it is said that there are multiple reasons for it to become different than the Raichu of the Kanto region. Weather, climate, and food are among those aspects, triggering multiple changes. That is confirmed by researchers claiming that its diet is one of those causes of this change. Locals of the Alola region often state that Raichu got this change from eating lots of fluffy pancakes, which are a common delicacy in the Alola region. The climate has probably helped Alolan Raichu's behavior as it became more playful than their normal counterparts. Also, while Kantonian Raichu's tail is used as a ground to protect itself from its own high voltage power, Alolan Raichu is using it as a surfboard to ride waves and even float in mid-air. It does that by controlling psychic powers, allowing it to use its tail to ride around, meaning that Alolan Raichu became a prominent user of psychokinesis. So clearly, the region has an important role in how a Pokémon is going to develop. I'm very curious to see how that is going to work for the other Pokémon. Hi guys, we have reached the end of the first explaining Pokémon evolution video. I will be very honest, despite the fact that I have discussed 3 Pokémon, well, if you include Alolan Raichu, you can say 4, I did not quite expect that I would be talking this long. I'm very impressed to be honest, and also very excited to jump to the next Pokémon. I can understand why the franchise has so much success. It is big and despite having complicated issues, it has still found a way to remain simple on the most important aspects. The Pokédex helped a lot on that. And also, on the contrary to Digimon, where one Digimon can have over 20 new forms, sometimes even overlapping other Digimon, Pokémon kept it simple and easy to understand. I guess I have to be a bit careful when I compare both of them before seeing my like and dislike ratio change for the worse. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to give me your feedback in the comment section. Do you want it to be much shorter or should I include something extra? Let me know. Also for the newcomers, all my videos are placed in specific playlists which are always updated. You see the last part of the video's title? It is a reference to the playlist where you can find that same video. I'm a bit obsessed with order and efficiency, and I hope you guys wouldn't mind. I want each newcomer to feel welcome and find his or her way in the channel with relative ease. Anyway, if there is a next Pokemon you want me to take a look at, make sure to write it down in the comment section.